Welcome to the Two Squirrel Podcast with your hosts, Wilbur and Liam.
Welcome to today's episode of the Two Squirrels Podcast with Wilbur and Liam. Of course, I'm Wilbur Lane and Liam Pierce is here, and we have some guests with us today. You want to talk about our guests today, Liam?
Yes, we have the awesome couple of Pat and Chuck Vosberg, who are the car wash special people of the world. Absolutely amazing people. They're down in Florida. And what part of Florida are you guys in again? Because I always get it confused.
We live in St. Petersburg, which is the Tampa Bay area for people that aren't familiar with the geography.
Yep. Well, you know, one thing I've learned over the years, Chuck, is even here in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, if I say the word beach, they think we're in Florida. Every darn time, because beaches can only be in Florida. Okay, so I just want to let you guys know that.
Even though we know all the Florida beaches are not even the same, right?
And they're way better.
Oh.
So today's episode is going to be called "Working Together Without Killing Each Other." Now, there's better topics we came up with, but I thought that was very fitting for these awesome couples. So, Will, I know you said you had some questions and everything that you want to dive into. So, as you guys know, Two Squirrels, we're going to have fun with this. Will, go ahead.
Love it.
All right. So, actually, I want Pat and Chuck to talk a little bit about what it's like to, one, work together in real estate. And actually, my first question is, did you guys meet each other as realtors?
No.
Do you want the long version or the short version?
The short version.
Well, it's only about a 30-minute podcast. So we got
No, we met. We're both avid photographers. I used to be a professional photographer, and we met through a local photo club.
Oh, that's awesome.
We met in a cemetery.
Okay.
That's even better.
That
Cemetery?
would take up the 30 minutes.
That would take up the 30 minutes.
Okay. Cemetery. Well, you can use your photography skills in real estate, so I guess that translated as well.
Our listing photos are awesome.
There you go. So if you're looking for great listing photos on your listings in Tampa area, call these two.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? It popped in my head. I'm like, you guys need a podcast. It's called Listing for Love.
I love it.
Okay.
I'm stealing that right now.
Do it. It's all yours. This is recorded, so I have given you permission. I do not take any ownership. So tell me, like, honestly, I know because Tammy and I, of course, we worked in real estate for years up until about 2 years ago when I kind of stepped back. With you guys, you guys doing such an amazing job. You're out there specifically within the Next Home community as well, like at conferences. You guys are very central. I see you guys all the time. We all absolutely love you guys. So tell me a little bit how you kind of dove into the Next Home culture and really developed that amongst you and your brand.
Well, it's really our brokers that brought us into Next Home. They chose Next Home at first, and it really fit what Pat and I are all about. It's just such a perfect fit, and it was totally by luck. We never really decided that, who should we join? We've got awesome brokers, and we love and trust them. They made the right decision to go with Next Home, and we went along with them, and it was just wonderful from day one. We'd never leave in a million years.
That's awesome.
So would you say there's a particular advantage to being a couple in real estate versus being a single agent?
Yes. You want to answer that?
Yeah, you actually just talked about that yesterday.
Yeah, there's such a huge advantage having two of us because from a practical standpoint, we both know what's going on. We work together as much as possible, but even when we're handling clients separately, we're still talking with each other about it. So, for example, if someone were to call and say, hey, I really would like to go look at this house, or I need some help. If one of us isn't available, the other one most certainly is. So that's the most practical. And then expanding out from that, Pat and I each have certain things that we're good at and certain things that we're less good at. And we're able to kind of divide up the responsibilities. So the person that's the best suited is the one doing that. So for example, I'm a little bit better suited for doing administrative tasks. So I do those. And Pat hates doing that kind of thing, so it takes it off of her. Pat's a little bit better at going out and meeting new people and getting new people to know who we are and what we're all about. So Pat takes care of most of that. That doesn't mean there's not a lot of overlap and that we couldn't easily both do it. But we didn't sit down in the beginning and decide that, okay, well, we're going to divide up these responsibilities. You're going to do this. I'm going to do this. It just kind of happened naturally.
It really happened organically for us. Like, I'm a really good
awesome.
buyer's agent. And that's not to say that Chuck is not a good buyer's agent, but I really am a very good buyer's agent.
I'm not the best buyer's agent in this room.
And so, he is a very good listing agent. But that doesn't mean, like, if something's going on with him that I can't go on a listing presentation.
Yeah, of course not.
Yeah, so we have a lot of overlap, but we definitely have, I would say, definitive roles.
Yeah, we do.
We do, and it really works well.
And, I know everybody listening isn't necessarily in the real estate business, but I'll give you one other really valuable example. One of the things that's really critical in our line of work is deciding on the price of the property. So what Pat and I do is we each do it independently of each other and then come together and compare notes. So the work that we do, and you could apply this to any business, if there are things that are really mission critical, two brains are way better than one, and you can come together and decide, if one of you's off by a mile, then, well, we've got to figure that out. And usually we're pretty close to each other.
Yeah, especially right now, you guys are really close to each other. It's almost like you're in the car wash again.
Right. And we are really close. So we're close in every aspect of our life. We're, of course, as a married couple, but also in business, we make sure, and we really strive to make sure that the other knows what they're doing. And so that we all know what's going on, and we can both help each other as much as possible.
So communication is, and I know this is so cliche, but communication is key, right?
Oh, it really is.
It really is. And I think
really
having
is.
the same goals is key too. Because,
Mhm.
couples really need to sit down and talk about their goals.
Yeah, and we're not competitive with each other. I don't think at all, not even in a playful way.
No.
Because we win as a team, we lose as a team. Regardless of what the outcome is, there's no Chuck and Pat. There's no Chuck and Pat. There's just Chuck and Pat. And, all the money goes in the same bank account.
Nothing separate.
Any successes that we have together, because neither one of us could accomplish anything that we do on our own.
So I think it's a big key and factor, even just relationships in general, is just keeping that same bank account right now. Because when Chuck was talking, I was like, this dude's got an offshore account, I bet. He got some money out there illegally.
No, believe it or not. Not that I'm going to say. No, but you're right.
So how do you keep? Oh, go ahead, Chuck.
Well, this may be totally off topic, and you can edit this out. But
no, bring it on, Chuck.
I'm of the opinion that couples who have separate bank accounts, unless they've got a very, very good reason for doing so, they're really not treating each other like partners in the true sense of the word. Now, of course, we didn't do any premarital banking, but once we were married, everything goes in the same pot because we have no intention of splitting up. I know 60% of couples split up, but we're going to be the 40%. Because we both went into this with full intention that there's no plan B. We're doing this no matter what.
Now, Chuck, you seemed a little happy saying all that. So I want you to blink twice if Pat is making you say that.
I'm joking. Like the Vietnam vet, the prisoner of war. I don't know Morse code. Sorry.
You're so bad.
Because,
how do you keep each other motivated?
Oh, that's a good question. Do you want to address that or do you want me to?
You can do it.
All right.
I'm loving this energy y'all have between each other.
Well, we're both very in tune with each other, and we've got a very traditional marriage where, I'm supposed to be the leader of the two of us, and I'm the one that's supposed to take the lead and say, hey, come on, let's do this. We're going to hit it hard. But there's lots of days where I'm not being that leader, and Pat can step up and say, hey, come on, let's get this done. It's going to be great. And so we do it for each other, and we can kind of sense when the other one is, maybe feeling a little down or really isn't feeling motivated. And there's some days, I'll be honest with you, there's some days we just look at each other and go like, hey, you want to go take a nap?
That's true. Because in the middle of the day, we don't care.
Yeah. And that's the great thing about being self-employed. We could sleep in till noon anytime we want. We never do. No. But we could.
I'm up at 5.
and it's true. I mean, we do take naps sometimes. And, because we work very, very hard. And, if you need a nap, you need a nap.
Hey, Pat, I told Liam that I'm up at 5 too, and he called me old.
I did.
What?
I said, look, you are officially labeled as old, right? And I use that in a very loving manner, especially for those listeners, because I'm going to get hate mail now. Thanks, Wilbur. Really appreciate that. But no, it's just, I was telling him, I said, when I was in the military, I was an early morning riser, right? I'm up ready to go. Now my brain doesn't even kick on until like 3 p.m. Then that's when everything starts working again, right? And it's such a weird dynamic for me because I'm 42 and people that are a little bit older than me, they're all in that 5, 6 a.m. category where they're getting up, they're having coffee, there's time for themselves away from the kids. And I think that's beautiful. But man, I can't do that. I don't set alarms anymore. I keep the very low relaxation type vibe going on. And it works really well for us because our kids are in online private school. We don't have to get up early in the morning, and it's a great culture for us. But yeah, as soon as Wilbur said, I was like, dude, you're just old right now.
Well, that brings up an interesting point because, we observe a lot of other people that work together, couples, and of course, we've had our ups and downs with it too. There's been things that we've had to work out amongst ourselves, but I think one really important thing is to realize that whatever style of working you have, the other person's not obligated to adopt your style of working.
Yep.
So, for example, Pat gets up super early. I don't. I'm not a super early get her up kind of guy.
No.
But she doesn't think any less of me because I like to sleep in. She knows we both work really hard. We both get a lot accomplished. And, how we do the work isn't the issue. And we've got completely different styles of working. And
I think you have to accept the different styles of working. So even when we're working, I'm a freewheeler. Mm-hmm. I don't follow systems. It's bad. It can be bad. But he's very system driven and he's really good at systems. So he's implemented systems, with us, and that really has helped us quite a bit. But I don't really follow systems, which is bad. I don't say, I don't have my day written out. I know some people do that. Mm-hmm. They have their day written out, and I don't do that.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Pat, because I think if I was going to give some encouragement to other couples that are working together, you have to realize that that other person is not obligated to do anything they don't want to do. Yes. So when it comes to system, and this is something I had to deal with on my own because, I found myself at one point kind of feeling resentful towards Pat because she will not follow any systems. She just won't.
She's dying over there.
And it's just the truth. But she accomplishes a tremendous amount. Yeah. So, it comes down to a pride thing mostly. I thought that my way was right and that she ought to adopt that because I say it's right. And all the experts agree with me, by the way. But the truth of the matter is that Pat's not obligated to do anything she doesn't want to do. And that's just the truth of the matter. And just because she has a different way of working doesn't mean one of us is right and the other one's wrong. She accomplishes a tremendous amount of work, and so do I.
Well, I think what really spoke to me about that whole thing is it's about balance, right? Because you guys kind of got the yin and yang type balance thing going on, and that's what
truly
and I have. And a lot of times when you work together, I think that's that's how you stay together while working together. Because most couples are like, dude, you got to walk away right now, stay away from me for like 3 days, and we all have those moments at times. But I do like the whole aspect of it, which I think would be a really, really what we call the golden nut thing is it's the acceptance of each other, right? I got it right, Wilbur? Yes. Rocking this. But it's about acceptance, right? Like, because Chuck said something very powerful, like, you don't have to adapt to the other person. And it always comes back to even the way I coach people. I'm like, look, especially when I'm talking to realtors, and they're like, well, I really need to treat people how I want to be treated. I'm like, don't do that. Don't do that. Treat people how they want to be treated. It's a different, more empowerment. It's a platinum rule over the golden rule. It's treat people how they want to be treated, not how you want to be treated. Like, so I thought that acceptance was very powerful in my opinion.
Oh, that's such a good way of putting it, Liam. You really hit the nail on the head with that, because you're right. And it's not reasonable to expect somebody else to be any certain way. It just isn't.
Yeah.
Now, of course, I do that regularly, but it's still not reasonable.
So do you guys feel like working together, especially in real estate, because we know this can be a very sort of straining type of industry. Do you feel it has strengthened your relationship?
No.
I don't think it's strengthened it.
We walked in strong.
Yeah.
But you're right. Real estate is a very stressful line of work.
But you did a stressful line of work before. So
well, yeah, every line of work's stressful.
So,
you had a stressful line of work.
Right. So Chuck's work before was, doing on-site photography with travel and lifestyle. So I was actually his assistant during those photo shoots. We did like magazine covers for AirTran and that. And so
Pat's a very accomplished photographer also,
well, thank
although
you.
she wasn't a professional.
No. And so going to those photo shoots really kind of taught us how to work together. Like we had not just one camera with us, we had 3 of the exact same camera. And we were on a photo shoot. The wind came and knocked the camera down on the ground. I don't think it broke. I can't remember, but it was not usable.
So Pat hands me another one.
I handed him
set
another
the same
one,
way.
Set exactly the same, and it was seamless. And so to have a partner like that and to have partners like that is really important to be able to pick up for each other, like to recognize the signs of things going on and to just pick up whenever, like someone else is slacking or like you said before, if someone's tired or whatever, or if they're on a roll and they just go, then just let them. But either way, you have to kind of have respect for that, the way the decision is right that minute.
Yeah, and even as recently as today, there's a client that we're not going to be working with anymore. And Pat told me that. She goes, hey, we're not going to be working with them anymore. And so my first thought was, do you need me to write up a cancellation? And, just that truly working together and anticipating each other's needs.
Yes.
Because, I usually do the paperwork side of it. So
it doesn't mean I don't know how to either.
Of course not.
Right.
Of course.
And she doesn't expect like, oh, you're the paperwork boy.
No.
It's not like that at all.
It's not like that at all.
It's just, I usually take care of that. And, that's the way it is.
Okay. So we do have Monday morning meetings, which is nice. We usually leave and we go have breakfast somewhere. It's a Monday morning meeting where we'll pull out our books and just kind of go over each client.
Yeah, get caught up, make sure
that we know where we are with everybody.
Yes.
And of course, that just because it happens on a Monday doesn't mean it's not going to happen on Tuesday either. But,
well, yeah, this week it was on Wednesday. Our Monday morning meeting happened to be on Wednesday just because we were busy.
Logistically, it didn't work out. But yeah. We call it the Monday morning meeting.
Gotta be flexible.
Yeah, the Monday morning meeting. But we really do try to do that on a Monday and, play catch up and just kind of make sure that we're following and knowing what the week's going to have in front of us.
I like that. And you guys kind of touched on a bit, say if you set a certain schedule, a certain calendar or whatever, but I like the fact that you're keeping it fluid because a calendar is a living beast, especially in this business, in real estate.
Yes.
Where sometimes you have to move.
Phone call can change everything.
You have to be fluid. Yeah. I love that. I love that. Will, what question? You got any other questions for them?
So what do you do to like just break away and have fun? Because I know y'all said that sometimes you just feel like both of you are sort of worn, and you just tell each other, "Hey, we just gonna take the day off and sleep in today." So what do you do to have fun?
We go to Volkswagen events. You know,
Yeah.
we like to go to those and see.
We have a vintage Volkswagen. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we see our peeps there.
We
go to the car wash.
we go to the car wash
The car
together.
wash, yeah.
The car wash.
We have fun whatever we do for the most part. We really do. We try and make an adventure out of everything as
Both
much
of us
as
are
possible.
very easy to please, which is nice because if you have a partner who is like very demanding, or we must do this, or everything's got to be like written down. So I'll just give you an example. So 10 years ago, we got married in May, and we were going away on a honeymoon for 5 weeks in 5 different countries in Europe.
Oh,
So the
nice.
only thing that we really had planned was the planes, the trains, the cars, and the hotels. That was it. So the first stop was Paris. Did we see the Louvre? No. We saw another fabulous museum, and we didn't care.
The line was really
The
long, and
line
we
was
didn't
long,
care.
and we said, let's go to that one. So it's nice to have a partner that doesn't mind that, you know, to have that, like you call it, a fluid kind of thing,
Yeah.
where it is, because otherwise, if everything is so stringent and straight and just very, no, we need to stand on this line and see the Louvre. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I want to see the Mona Lisa. No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, we saw
Right.
lots of other
We
cool
saw lots
stuff.
of other cool stuff. Like we didn't have any plans at all. So that's
It's,
why it
it's
tells you a
living
little
in the
bit about
moment.
us. Yes.
And everything's great to us.
And everything is new and everything's great. And why not?
That sounds like every one of our vacations.
Yeah. If
We-
you don't have
we-
a plan, you don't get disappointed.
Yeah,
Hey, I like that. There it is.
that's true. Yeah. I
So-
think
So what kind of advice you want to give to us single men and women realtors out there that may be searching? Hint, hint.
All right.
Well, geez, Wilbur, I wonder if we're
Who's
talking
gonna
about
drift
anybody
on?
we
so.
know.
Is this a dating question now? Wait a minute, because we can give you advice on that
We
too.
can tell you how to find the right partner.
Yeah.
And we can also give you some good litmus tests to make really sure. So,
Awesome.
now, joking aside, I'd really like to address that because I've got thousands of dollars worth of counseling behind me. But I think one thing that, and I actually did learn this from a counselor, was first thing is you have to have 3 things figured out and have a sheet with 3 columns on it. The first one, that's the easiest one, deal breakers. You know, things that are absolutely not acceptable. Everybody knows what those are. I could fill that out easily.
Mhm.
Then the middle one is preferences. So things that, well, you know, it would be really great. Like, for example, I like to go camping. It would be really great if my wife likes to go camping, but if she doesn't like it, I'm cool with that. It doesn't matter that much to me. So that's a preference. But then the one that I had the hardest one with, and I think most people do, are the must-haves. What are the things that person has to have in order to be a good partner? And so I actually had a list before I met Pat. Of course,
did.
I didn't
I
disclose
didn't-
this
yeah,
to
he didn't tell me
her
his list.
that she was being interviewed.
I was being interviewed.
And then as far as meeting people, I've always kind of felt like all the traditional things, you know, like going to clubs and stuff like that. It's not a good venue unless you're looking for alcoholics, and also it's too competitive. So I recommend, and this is worth the whole podcast right here in my opinion, as far as anything I say, is go to something like meetup.com.
Oh, I love meetup.com.
Because there are groups of people where you live that do things that
I've
you
heard
like
that.
to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just social. It's not pressure. It's not for dating. That's how Pat and I met. We both enjoy
did.
photography. And
we met through a photography group.
so we already knew each other before we started dating. We had interacted with each other. We'd seen each other. We had a lot of mutual friends because of this meetup group. So the best way to meet somebody that's compatible with you is do stuff that you enjoy doing. Now, of course, if you enjoy just sitting on your butt in front of the TV watching and eating potato chips, that might not be a good venue. But
That's right.
go out and do things you enjoy doing. That way, at least you've got that little bit of foundation. And as far as litmus test, go on a canoe trip.
We didn't go on a canoe trip, though.
Or go on any kind of trip. Really, any kind of trip together.
Well, that's
you'll find
true.
out everything you need to know.
So 6 weeks after we started dating, he came to Ireland with me because I had a trip planned with my family, way before I met him. And in 6 weeks from the time we started dating,
I got to go meet the whole family and spend 2 weeks with them.
That sounds awesome.
That's a lot of pressure. That's a lot of pressure.
It was pressure. Oh, yeah. And especially her brother. She's like, I'm watching you. But it was really great. And I have to say, I couldn't have married into a better family. But
awesome.
It turned out great.
So I didn't have a list, because what did I know about lists? But I knew what I wanted.
Well, you knew what a good man looks like.
I knew what a good man looks like because of my dad.
Or a good-looking man, right?
Yeah. So.
Yeah, you had a good bar with your father.
Right.
That at least you knew it's like, all right, nobody's ever going to be at this level, but that's the standard. And, I want to get someone that's got some of those attributes.
Right.
At least that's kind of how you put it.
Right. And I did make a mistake the first time I got married. I met my first husband when I was 16. I didn't get married at that age, but I got married young, and it was just not good really from the start. And it just, I guess in my family or in my mind, I thought you stick it out. We don't have children, but some people stick it out because of the kids, I didn't have to do that, but I was very fortunate that in the end, my ex-husband loved our money instead of me. And that's how I got out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was very fortunate.
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah, truly.
Truly. And I'm very fortunate now that I met Chuck, and we've never had a fight. I know that sounds crazy because we know each other. Well, we're together 13 years. And, we've never had a fight. We've never had really an argument.
No, we do annoy each other from time to time.
Right. You're going to annoy each other.
That's to be expected.
Yeah, that happens.
If you get two people together, you're going to annoy each other.
Right.
Yep.
But we've never had a fight or an argument about anything, which is pretty amazing to me.
And we can tell you why.
Yeah.
You want to know?
Please do.
All right. So if you think about it, whenever you have a disagreement with somebody, usually it boils down to who's right and who's wrong. And so it's truly an issue of final authority.
Yeah.
So if, in our case, Pat and I both have the same beliefs, we happen to be Christians. So before we got married, we decided that the final authority for us was going to be the Bible. And we both believe all the answers are in there, whether we like it or not. So if you can get something that's a final authority outside of the two of you, then that solves all the issues. So for us, if we have a disagreement, we go to that book and see what it has to say about the topic. And if we can't find it, we know people who can help us find it. So I'm firmly a believer that if you can take the issue of final authority off the table for the two of you, that will undercut just about any disagreement you could possibly have.
Yeah, it removes the I'm right, you're wrong situation.
Yeah, and when you take that out of it, and usually, in the times where if I do something to really annoy Pat, I already knew if I did something wrong. And I'm going to speak for you on this because I know you would say this too.
Yep.
Pat expects me to make mistakes. She knows.
And he knows I'm going to make mistakes
and
too.
I know Pat's going to make mistakes. It's to be expected. When you're dealing with a human being, they're going to make mistakes. So if Pat makes a mistake, I'm not going to beat her up about it. I'm not going to give her a hard time. Because again, that whole teamwork thing, we win as a team, we lose as a team. If we make a mistake, one or the other of us, hey, it's our mistake to share. And it's to be expected.
If I could just add one more thing to that is,
sure.
I chose Chuck
Mhm.
and he chose me. And I think that's an important thing that people need to remember in relationships
Glad you
and
brought that
working
up.
together. I
Yeah.
chose him as my husband and my partner.
And you don't need me.
Right.
You can stand on your own 2 feet,
Right.
and I can stand on my own 2 feet.
And
So
I think that's
it's a
important
decision.
to remember.
And also, love is
I,
not
I
a
think I,
prerequisite for marriage. Now,
I think what Pat is saying is so powerful.
yes,
Just that word and thought. I mean, you're able to choose things, and I think we forget that, especially in this business. So, and I'm constantly reminding my agents, like, you could go to anywhere, like, and be successful. Like,
hmm
you could go to any brokerage, but you picked Wilbur for a reason, right?
Yep.
that's
You
right.
so you two picked each other for a reason,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
it's all growth mindset. You are going to grow together if you support each other, and I love that about you two.
Yeah. And as we've grown
Thanks.
together, I can't imagine life without Pat.
Same here.
I can't possibly imagine it. And I know I can tell you with complete certainty, I wouldn't be who I am today and have done what I've done without the help and support of Pat.
Same here.
I like that. And just even all of that, I'm going to kind of take it back a little bit because there's a couple things you guys said. I liked that he was testing you, Pat, without you knowing it.
He was asking me questions.
Oh, you want to hear my theory before you go off?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Please do.
Okay, so here's my theory. And this is just a theory, listeners. If a woman has a negative relationship with her father, there's a chance she may not know what a good man looks like. And without knowing what a good man looks like, she won't recognize someone who is a good man. So I asked Pat, like, what about your family? And I just casually asked, what was your dad like? And she's like, oh my God, I had the best father ever. And she just went on and on, just glowing about what a great man he was, how much he helped people, and just went on and on.
Gave the best hugs.
So that told me, okay, well, she knows what a good man looks like. So she's got something to judge me against. And, hopefully I measure up, because it's my goal to measure up as a man.
Yeah. Wow. I like that. I like that. So, kind of going where I was trying to go with this is, you kind of made me forget Chuck. So I really appreciate
I'm
that.
sorry.
No, you're fine.
Well,
You're
that's a
fine.
squirrel
You're fine.
thing,
It's the squirrel.
That's what it is. That's what it is.
Hopefully I was laying down some golden nuts for you.
See, he gets it better than I do. I am.
First try, way to go.
I
know
almost
what?
said it wrong.
I know
It's
you
that
did.
close.
Yeah. Yeah, I got you. But kind of going back to where you were asking questions, right? Because you're trying to figure out if it's something you want to deal with or if they want to deal with you. And it's even powerful if you are in real estate or any business when you're dealing with clients or whatever. There's certain things you're going to do, certain things you don't want to do. And that should be a measuring stick all the time in our lives. Like, don't do things that you don't want to do. Now, I'm not saying that if they make you uncomfortable, because a lot of times when things are uncomfortable, it's not necessarily a bad thing. That's where growth happens, right? But,
Right.
if you have your standards, don't break your standards just for an extra buck, is what I'm saying. Stick
We have
to
that
who
regularly.
you are.
We have that regularly. Yep.
And
Yep.
and you're right. I mean, it's easy to use that as an excuse, like you said. You have to be very cognizant that it's your standards and not your feelings that you're dealing with.
Yes.
Because, if you're ruled by your feelings, it, really muddles the water. But, we do have certain standards, and, we've walked away from $1 million listings because we were able to ascertain that person was unethical and was going to be asking us to do things that were unethical.
And that's huge. That's huge. And that goes across the board in any business, in any relationships too.
And I'd hasten to say, I mean, it's not like we're rich and we wouldn't miss the money either.
Sure.
We do miss. We just had it happen this last week where there was, we went on a listing appointment for a, very high priced house, and, business has been a little light this month. So it would have made a big difference in our month. But on the way home from the appointment, we're looking at each other and we're like, do we really want this one? And as it turned out, they picked someone else anyway. But we had a discussion about whether or not it was going to be worth it for us, and whether or not it fit in with what we want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes some guts to do that, but you got to, because we've gotten burned. Every time we've made an exception, we've regretted it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of the things I'm constantly saying to my agents is take your emotions out of it.
Yes. Leave them at the door.
Like, do what's
hard,
best for the client or for your business 100% of the time. Take your emotions out of it.
Yes. We have so many golden nuts this time. I really like it. So one of the things as we come in to wrap things up, here's what I really want to know, because the title today is working together without killing each other. What are 3 ways to avoid killing each other when you work together?
Communicate everything.
Yeah.
Don't hold anything back.
Lots of communications, and even difficult conversations. That's something I really had to overcome myself, was that I was raised in a way where you avoid conflict. And so as a result, by the time it finally got dealt with, it was 10 times worse than if it had just been dealt with in the very beginning. Right. So, and that's something that Pat helped teach me, was that, if something's bothering me, I need to let her know immediately so we can discuss it and usually solve it, because most things are easily solvable if you discuss it. And you have to have an agreement between the two of you that you're going to hear the other person, hear them out before you react to it. And that's important. Like I mentioned before, having common goals and common beliefs are very vital. To us, that is the most vital in our opinion.
So would you say shared direction, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah, that would be a good way of putting it.
One thing we didn't say also was having like romance, intimacy, date night.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Car wash night. Got it.
Car wash.
Car wash, No, I'm serious.
Well, like we hold hands a lot.
We hold hands all the time.
Of course, not everybody's like that.
Right.
Everybody's different.
Sure. Everybody's different.
And we also try to really make a point of letting each other know how much they're cared for and how much we appreciate, even the little things. Like last night, we went to dinner, and there was torrential rain, and there was really deep water between us and the car. So I'm like, I'll go get the car and bring it around. And which, of course, a gentleman would do that. It's to be expected. But, Pat gets the car. She goes, hey, I really appreciate you going and, wading through that and getting the thing. And she didn't have to say that, because, I was going to do it anyway. And that's just the way I do things. But it was nice to hear.
I think it really comes down to like respecting each other.
Yeah.
Having that
and
mutual respect and being grateful. Truly.
Pat cleans something up. I'm grateful for it. And it's easy to forget to be grateful and thankful for your partner, because you're together so much.
It goes in, like, especially when you guys work together, you live, you do everything together. Oftentimes when people say making love, it's usually sexually oriented, which obviously is important in a relationship. However,
yes,
I also see it as you got to make love work, right? It just doesn't work by itself. You got to make it work. And all the things you listed out is really what helps making it work. So you're making love.
Yeah, you're right.
All the time.
And even like, if we go on an appointment together, what almost invariably one or the other of us will say like, hey, you did a good job in that presentation. Or
nice.
Something, just some little positive.
No, I love it, guys. I think it's great.
Golden nut.
A golden nut.
A golden nut.
And then usually we'll ask like, hey, is there anything I could have done different that would have made it better? And then we can lay down some more golden nuts.
I'm going to get you guys a t-shirt of a golden nut. I'm just saying, it's going to say Two Squirrels.
Oh man, we need
going
it.
down. So I need you guys to text me your t-shirt size, because I'm dead damn serious about that.
That's so funny.
So Will, as we come in and kind of start to wrap things up, do you have any final questions for our awesome guests?
I don't. I appreciate you all coming on and sharing your knowledge and wisdom. And I just see you two together, and I light up personally when I see y'all. So I know a lot of other people do too. So thank you.
We're very, very fortunate.
I wish other people had what we had.
And also, truly. I don't know if you mind us saying this, but if there's any listeners that want to talk about these things, or if they want to get some advice or chat about things, Pat and I are both available all the time.
And I'm an open book.
There's an epidemic of people splitting up out there. And
there is.
We don't like seeing that. We're seeing it more and more. And we'd sure love to put a stop to some of that.
Well, I was going to actually ask you guys too, is how can people get a hold of you? Because the one thing when we do, because we're going to start bringing on more guests over time, is we want this to be a platform for people to reach out for whatever. So whether it's real estate, because I know you guys are rock stars in real estate in your area, and, or just genuinely, what I would do just to be safe though, is like maybe give an email address or something, just because, there's a lot of things that go on in the world, and you don't need anybody going crazy after you, of course. So what would
anybody
be a good
can
email?
Find us.
Or
anybody can find anybody.
I can find anybody in like seconds.
Oh, we know you can.
Find you
okay?
in seconds.
Yeah, she'll know about everything.
I'll know about everything.
So, the easiest way to reach both of us is my email address is chuckandpat.homes. That's ChuckandPat.homes, HOMES. And there's no .com or anything after that. And very cleverly, Pat is Pat@chuckandpat.homes.
Love it. And of course, you guys could find them on social media too. Just literally go into like Facebook, Instagram, Chuck Vosberg, Pat Vosberg. You will find this crazy, awesome couple without a doubt.
And also, we've got a little YouTube channel with tutorials and tips and things and our opinion about stuff. It's called Florida Real Estate Scene. .com. That's on YouTube. Florida Real Estate Scene.
Florida Real Estate Scene. I love it. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. I love it. Well, again, guys, we definitely appreciate you guys, jumping on here, the Two Squirrels podcast, chatting with us, giving a lot of golden nuts, by the way. So that is fantastic. You are going to get a t-shirt. I'm seriously need some, t-shirt size, because I'm not even going to guess, because I am way shorter than you guys. So I can't even fathom the height of the shirt. Okay.
Oh, we're like giants.
I know.
No, he's
You guys should just
6'4",
carry me
I'm
around at
5'11",
conference.
so yeah.
Yeah, we get out of the car and people are like, what?
We get out of our Carmen Gee and they're like, how did you even fit in there? I said, there's so much room. There really is a lot of room in the car.
Not after we're in it.
Awesome.
Thanks.
Love you guys.
Awesome.
You were
Thanks
great
again,
too.
guys.
Thanks for inviting us.
Yes. Go ahead, Will. You can do the closeout.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us on the Two Squirrels podcast. Thanks, Chuck, and thanks, Pat.
Appreciate you guys.
All right. We'll see you guys next time.
Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to the YouTube channel.